Welcome, everybody, to the R&R CatCast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of R&R After Dark. This is our instant reaction show where we break down the Montana State game and give you our thoughts on Across the Big Sky. Thorny, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Long day of college football, but fun day. Good scores, good Bobcat scores, and some other interesting scores throughout the Big Sky that I think Bobcat fans will enjoy.
Yeah, Cats moved to 6-1. We're first place in the Big Sky. I think we're 4-0 right now in the Big Sky. We beat Northern Colorado 37-14. We'll get into that. That's the lion's share of our show, but let's start dropping down into the Big Sky. Thorny, why don't you take the first game?
Actually, before we even get into that, I want to throw out the South Dakota State taking down North Dakota State 22-21 in a pretty important game in terms of playoff seeding down the line. I think anybody who follows FCS football, if you want a shot at Frisco, you got to make the Bison somehow get out of the dome. And, you know, they're not going to be the number one or number two, or maybe, well, they might be number two, but they shouldn't be. They might have lost themselves out of the seeding with the top two seed out of this. So we'll see. That's a good result for other teams' high seeding wishes in the FCS.
It is a good result. I don't think it will take away their seeding. I don't think they will probably lose going here forward. We'll see what happens over there. But I could see South Dakota State and North Dakota State being opposite sides of the
1 and 2
bracket. Both. Yeah, exactly. There you go. All right. Let's talk about Across the Big Sky. Let's go down. Let's work our way from bottom to top.
Ooh.
Okay, Thorny?
Changing it up.
I'm going to take the first one. Weber State just lays it to Portland State in Portland, 42-7. Weber State's coming to Bozeman next week. That's something on Monday you and I are going to talk a lot about.
Oh, man.
I think Bronson Barron is sneakily the best quarterback in the Big Sky. He's always around 250 to 280 yards. He's really sharp this year. I think, Weber State is known for their defense, which is like their tops in defense in the Big Sky, but their offense is sneaky good. Weber State might be the best team in the Big Sky right now.
They might be the most complete team. Yeah, that's kind of been the missing piece for Weber State, as a guy who can kind of at least throw for 200, 250 yards consistently at an efficient rate and throw an occasional deep bomb. And Bronson Barron's been doing that very well this year, and he only seeming to get better. 21 of 31 for 274 and 3 touchdowns. Not a bad day.
Well, Weber State has such a schedule coming up. They got to play us, the Grizz, and Sac State all in a row. So we'll see if they're for real or not.
That's going to be a tough stretch for Weber State. Speaking of the Grizz, if we're going down to up, you left me with this juicy one. The Grizz fall in Missoula, 30-23 to Idaho. To
Say it ain't so.
Giovanni McCoy, I think his name is Giovanni, quarterback for Idaho, throws for 286 yards and 2 touchdowns in a game where Idaho just made more big plays. I watched a good chunk of this, and I think it just came down to Idaho was fired up. They made plays when they needed to. They won one-on-one battles. I mean, they came into Missoula with a good game plan and hung in there and then pulled away and was able to win. So that's a huge win for the Vandals and a decent blow to the Grizz, as they got kind of a hard schedule coming up. This was supposed to be one of their, quote, easier games before they kind of get into a bigger gauntlet here. So the Grizz might be reeling a bit right now.
The Grizz had 34 yards of rushing. 34! What the heck, man? Idaho only had 54 as well. So
it was a defensive game for sure, and those are two good defenses, and there's no taking away from that. But it was a big game, and Idaho really came to play. And I want to give you credit here, and I made sure to write this down on my notes so I wouldn't forget it when it popped into my memory. At one point on a podcast, you talked about you thought the Grizz offense wasn't looking all that good. You thought they were vulnerable on the offensive side. I don't remember what episode you said that in, or what exactly you said. But here it is. The Grizz only had, 220 yards of total offense here against Idaho. That's not going to win many football games. Lucas
I don't
Johnson
remember
threw.
that, but I'll take all the credit you'll give me. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, Lucas Johnson tossed 2 picks that were very bad picks over the middle to didn't even see the Idaho defender. Ooh, Chris might be in a little bit of trouble.
Man, they only possessed the ball for 17 minutes and 52 seconds. Idaho possessed the ball for 42 minutes. That is unreal.
Wow.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Okay, let's move on from that game. That's a bad loss for Montana. And Idaho, I said let's move on. And I'm still here talking about it. I don't know what I think about Idaho. Like, this is I don't believe, we'll see how they handle success. I'll just put it that way. All right,
sure.
Moving on. Idaho State, Cal Poly. Idaho State won. They beat Cal Poly. Cal Poly remains winless in the Big Sky. Bo Baldwin, God bless him. He's just got to be reeling over there. Idaho State took him down 40-31. That was in Pocatello. I always kind of like when Idaho State wins. You know, I kind of root for Idaho State, not publicly, but I always kind of pull for them. So I don't even know who was their quarterback today. I see Xavier Gilroy had 5 receptions for 120 yards. Wow, that's a pretty good game for Xavier. He didn't do that against us, but good on Idaho State. Cal Poly still 1-5, 0-3 in the Big Sky. That's tough for them.
Looks like Hunter Hayes got the start for Idaho State, 17-23 for 202, a touchdown in it, interception. It wasn't Sagan Gronauer in this one, and a cool thing for Charlie Ragle after his whole medical episode that didn't allow him to coach at all against Montana State last week to come back and able to win your first game of the year. You know, that's a good little story right there. So congratulations to Charlie Ragle on your first Big Sky, your first win as a head coach at Idaho State. I guess you took that one. So I'm moving on. UC Davis just go ahead and pummels NAU 56-27, scoring 28 points in the second quarter. I have no idea what happened, and then I didn't watch this game at all, but my goodness, that is an absolute whooping. UC Davis getting back on track, their first breather game they've seemingly had, and they were able to take it to NAU, who has once again been exposed as frauds. Anyone who ever thinks that NAU is going to do something good in the preseason, just stop. Just stop thinking that. They have one of the easiest schedules in the Big Sky. Doesn't matter. They're going to lose more games than they win. 1-3, 2-5.
Not one of the most easy schedule in the Big Sky. Davis put up 688 yards of offense. Oh my gosh. They had 410 passing yards and 278 rushing yards. Are you kidding me? Holy smokes. Let's roll into the box score on this. I want to see what Davis has. Hastings had 328 passing. Gilliam had 150 yards. There you go. That's what I really wanted to see. He had a long of 77, but he only had 16 carries. Wow, that makes our win against Davis just that much more satisfying. Nice job, UC Davis, making us look good.
Yeah, unfortunately, who didn't make us look good was Eastern Washington, who got whooped up by Sac State, 52-28. Yeah, that's a good whoop down right there. They held them to less points than we did, and they put up way more points than we did, and they made it look easy. Man, is it Cameron Scatabo? He might be the best running back in the Big Sky Conference. And I say that as a biased Bobcat fan. And even if Isaiah Afonso is healthy, I mean, he's giving him a run for his money. He is electric. Mm-hmm. He's tough. He's athletic. He runs hard. He's everything you want in a running back, man. He can catch the ball. 29 carries for 201 yards in this game. Are you kidding me? And he had, he also led Sac State in receiving with 3 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown. So there's your probably your Big Sky Conference Player of the Week offensively, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
he reminds me a little bit of Hunter Lipke for NDSU.
Except
just
way
like
faster.
A big guy that runs fast. Yeah. Okay.
So good win for the Hornets.
Sac State. Yeah, Sac State took it to Eastern there. Although I watched this game, I watched most of this game. Sac State's defense is suspect. They're beatable. Hot take, Ryan Foley.
Are they beatable by the Bobcats, though, is the real question. I'm not sure about that.
I think they could be, yeah. Like I said, their defense is suspect. Scatabo probably would put it to us.
He'd do some damage.
Let's be honest. Yeah, he would do some damage against our defense, but it would be one of those barn burner games where we'd both be up in the 40s.
Yep.
Down to the last play.
I could see a shootout. on that one.
All right.
All right. What am I missing here? Is there one more game? No. That's it.
I think we got them, dude.
That's it. All right. Well, there you go. They're around the Big Sky, around the FCS a little bit, because the North Dakota State game was worth bringing up on there. It's not a bad day in the office when the Bobcats win, the Bison lose, and the Grizz lose. Can't be too sad about that. It's a good Saturday.
It's always nice to watch the Grizzlies lose at Washington Grizzlies Stadium.
Yeah.
To see all their fans just like pout. And then, oh my gosh. Thorny, did you get to watch the post-game press conference with Bobby Hauck?
No.
Oh, he was in such vintage form. He was so good. At one point, he said some call was BS. He goes, oh, that's just BS. He just like mumbling to himself at one point. He deflected everything. He's like, let's talk about us. Let's talk about how good we are. He's so easy to root against. I love watching that guy when he loses. That's so much fun.
He's the perfect villain
Thank you,
for the
Skyline
villain team.
Sports, for posting that.
Yes. I'll have to check him out. I typically don't listen to Hauck even in the loss because I just don't like listening to Bobby Hauck do anything. Even pout.
Just go watch him squirm a little bit. It's kind of fun.
Fair enough.
It's kind of fun. All
well, let's talk about the Bobcats, my friend.
Yeah.
Stole your thing.
Hey, man. Bobcats. Let's start out with the good category. Let's just state right here. We're 6-1. We're 6-1 at top of the Big Sky. That is huge.
That is absolutely huge. Yeah, just 2 more wins, and if we beat Cal Poly and NAU, I think we're in the playoffs, pretty much guaranteed. Even if we lose Weber and lose the Grizz, it'll put us at 8 wins.
Man, I think if we win one more, we just need one more win, we're in the playoffs.
If we beat Weber and lose 3 in a row, we're not in the playoffs.
I disagree.
All right. Anyway, it is a good spot to be in. That's what we're talking about. This is the good category. We're in a great spot to finish out the regular season.
All right. Give me another good.
Man, Willie Patterson. I'm going to just call him out right off the bat. 7 receptions for 148 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had himself a great game, and I think almost all of this occurred after he had a pretty crucial drop in the first or second quarter that would have gone for a first down. Perfect throw by, I assume, Tommy Mellott. Hit him right in the hands, dropped it onto the ground, and then he took it personally, as Michael Jordan would say. And he came back and just played like a man possessed after that with the great one-handed catch as being held by the defender. Didn't matter. It caught the ball anyway. A great move on his long touchdown run. Just he made 2 Northern Colorado defenders collide with themselves and just crumple down on the field. It was a great game by Willie Patterson, and I got to give a huge shout out to Willie Patterson, who continues to have a very fine senior season.
I didn't hear the player, but I did catch the year. It was been since 2010 since a Bobcat receiver has caught 3 touchdowns in a game.
That seems
I guess
ridiculous.
Might be Akpla or Herbert. I'm not sure. So, yeah, Willie P. I had him down in the good category as well. That one where he caught that slant, I feel like Montana State went to that probably 2 times. Both times it looks really good on that play. So he had quite the catch after the run on that one that got him his second touchdown. It might have been his third. Willie P. stole a touchdown. Tommy Mellott threw a bad ball and was picked initially, and Willie P. took it away for his second touchdown.
Yep, that he saved an interception for his quarterback. It was a great catch.
Yeah. All right. Moving on in the good category, I'm going to say R.J. Fitzgerald had his 3rd touchdown in 3 games.
Receiving
after
touchdown.
not scoring at all last year. Yeah. So, and that was a good play. We went under center and did a little play action fake and found him out in the flat. I like that play. Nice job.
Beautiful.
For RJ.
To continue to get him more involved in the offense can only pay dividends because he's just one more thing for defensive coordinators to worry about. Nolan Askelson had himself a game, and I closed the stat sheet that I had up. Darn it. I think he ended up with 12 tackles. I'm shooting off the hip here. Led the team in tackles. I know that. And he had himself a great game because Callahan O'Reilly only ended up with like 3 tackles in this game, and I'm not sure exactly why that was. I think O'Reilly played the whole game, but Askelson really played well in this one and led the team in tackles and stepped up when maybe O'Reilly wasn't having a good game or Northern Colorado was game planning specifically to attack or go away from O'Reilly, I do not know. But it was a good game from Nolan, so he's in my good category.
I'm going to give you two goods real quick, two quick hitters. Stones Glessner was 1 for 1, hit a 51-yard field goal to start the scoring for the Montana State
beautiful.
Bobcats. That was right down the pipes. Nice job, Stones. That was a great kick. Also, I want to give props to the defense on third down. They held the Battling Bears. And no, Rocky Bearcat, I am not going to apologize for that. I know who is it? Is it
Northern?
No, it's Northern's
the Lights.
Something else. Is it Rocky?
I don't know NAIA football really well. It must be Rocky.
So I'm not going to apologize on that. I'm not going to take it back.
As we get more attacks for calling all sorts of NAIA teams the wrong mascots right now, just now. Sorry.
Yeah, so back to my point. Defense held Northern Colorado 2 for 14 on third down. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, along the same lines, I was debating whether to put this on here, but I thought Willie Mack Garza drew up a pretty decent game. It didn't start off really well, but I think part of that was self-inflicted wounds with Brody Grebe having his roughing the passer targeting thing that allowed the drive to extend. Without that, it would have been pretty sure it would have just been 7 points for Northern Colorado. It looked better scheme-wise. I will get into some stuff that didn't look good on defense, but I think Willie Mack is slowly making improvements on the defense, and I thought he had a decent scheme against Northern Colorado today.
What do you think about Kenneth Iden coming in for Brody?
He's in my good category too, man. He came in, had a sack or a sack and a half. He looked really good coming in and replacing Grebe. I was really happy to see. He kind of looked like Grebe did last year. Is kind of the interesting part there. So I thought he did really good, and I was going to actually mention him. So thank you for mentioning him as well.
Okay. Let's see here. As far as that, I want to mention a couple of hitters too. Sumner was 22 for 130. So again, he goes above the 100 mark. Malott was 16 for 20 for 217. He had himself a decent day, but I'm going to withhold my thoughts on Tommy Malott for right now. Wakata had an interception to seal the game. And just the fact that we got out of Greeley with the win, man. Greeley is to us what maybe Pocatello is to the Grizzlies. It's just a hard place to play. I think they had about 5,000 fans, a little under 5,000. It's like 4,700, 4,900 fans. Tough place to play, man. Bring your own energy is what you said last week, and you're exactly right.
It's a hard place to play. Okay, so you want to talk about Tommy in a little bit? We need to start, speeding this up a little bit. So are you going to mention him in a different category before I say anything about Tommy?
No.
Okay. I just want to put him in the good category because I think coming off a concussion and missing 2 games in a row, the guy who played really well, maybe there's some pressure. Did I lose my job? Or if I come out and play bad, is Chambers going to take my job? But he came out with 16 to 20 for 217, 3 touchdowns, and he also rushed the ball for 40 yards and looked pretty good. Picked up a couple crucial first downs, I think, running the ball. So I thought he looked really good coming back from his first game. Overall, I put him in the good category just based on coming back from an injury and taking control of the team and going a majority of the snaps. I mean, we only threw the ball 23 times, and Tommy was 20 of them.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's all I have in my good category. You mentioned the other ones that I was going to. I was going to say second half shutout. We'll just kind of lump that in with the defensive talk. But yeah, pitched a shutout in the second half. That's always good.
Yeah, we had, I think,
Is that 2 weeks in a row?
It was 34 consecutive unanswered points. That should be mentioned as well. Nice job, Bobcats.
Yeah, I think it's the second week in a row that
we went down 14 to 3.
Yeah, yep. That's good. Responding the way we did because we came out kind of sluggish.
All right. Let's move into the okay. I got one to start us off with. The UNC offense. They had 21 first downs. 21 first downs. We had 22 first downs. Dylan McCaffrey was 34 for 50. He passed it for 50 times against us. He had 278 yards with 1 touchdown. They utilized the quick pass offense. I think that is one of the ways you can beat Montana State.
I counter that in saying that's all Northern Colorado does. And we knew that. We just kept everything in front of them. And that's sure they passed the ball 50 times, but it was 5.5 yards per pass. Like once we got up on them, they were never going to come back because that's literally all Northern Colorado can do is throw 7-yard hook routes over the middle.
Pretty good, though. I mean, they had 21 first downs.
It's effective enough as long as they can keep the score within distance. But, if you can't convert on third down and you get down by 2 scores, what are you going to do? You're going to lose.
Yeah.
Brody Greaby's targeting, I'm going to put that in the okay on Brody Greeby because he just shouldn't have done that. Now, we'll talk about maybe the officiating side of that now or in the ugly category, depending on where you want it, or the bad category, excuse me. But I just thought Brody Greeby should have known better not to do a little shove or kind of launch at the QB. I don't think he needed to do that, and you can't put anything in the decision-making hands of a referee to make a call against you because that ended up costing us 7 points. So I'm going to put it in the okay, not necessarily ugly, but Brody Greaby's got to be smarter than that to not even put his hands on the quarterback in that situation.
The second half, after we scored 2 touchdowns, here's the drive chart for both teams. Interception by us. That's Sean Chambers underthrowing Cleveland Thomas in the corner of the end zone, which would have been easy 7 points. That was a 7-play, 63-yard drive. But then it goes punt, 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 downs, punt, interception, and then we scored a touchdown to end the game. Terrible. We couldn't get a first down in the second half. It's seemingly we went away from the outside zone run scheme, and you're going to say, hey, we lost our right side of the offensive line, which Marcus Ware and Cole saying that's probably going to be in the bad categories. Of course, it's going to be the bad categories. That's terrible, though. I don't know what we were doing. I was a little bit frustrated with Housewright. His play calling seemed a little bit unorthodox. We would find ourselves a groove, and then we'd go away from it. Maybe I'm overreacting. Walk me off this ledge, Ryan Thornton.
I don't know. I think you just keep expecting the Bobcats to score 7 to 14 points per quarter, and I just don't think that's realistic. When we're up by 20 points, you're gonna see Housewright just hand the ball off up the middle. That's just kind of what has been happening, and we're just not quite talented enough in that scheme to just be able to get first downs easily on it. I wish we'd be a little more creative. You can still run the ball and run out the clock effectively, and not just go away from what works from you and just start doing this handoff up the middle stuff that we seem to do. But they just want to get out of the game quickly. So that's all I know. I think you're overreacting, but it is something worth mentioning. It is absolutely a little frustrating that we can't at least get some first downs. Like we just go 3 and outs when we get into this mode.
Thorny, after we do the 7-play and then we throw the interception in the end zone, we go 3 and out, 4 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. I might have missed one in there.
Yeah.
Just silly.
No, that's not acceptable to go that many 3 outs in a row at any point in the game.
No, exactly. Especially against Northern Colorado. When we have one of the best rushing attacks in the Big Sky and we're going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. No, man. We can be more creative than just running power schemes up the middle.
Yep, I can't argue with that. I don't have much else to put in this category. That touchdown catch by Northern Colorado, where it didn't look like he maybe came down with possession on it. I put that in this category because I don't understand when the referees review things and when they don't. They should have reviewed that. I think they would have probably overturned it if they took a look at it, but they didn't even review it. I don't understand why that wasn't why it wasn't initiated. So it's in my okay category.
All right, let's move into the bad. I'm going to say the refs were in the bad. I mean, it's an easy thing to say, right? As a fan, they were terrible. That was the first half was probably one of the worst officiated first halves I've ever seen.
Yeah, the targeting call, I think, was a bad call. I mean, maybe to the letter of the law, it was targeting, but it was not malicious. It wasn't hard. It wasn't anything near what I thought happened to Sean Chambers at Eastern when he got kind of pinned down by a defender and the other guy came up and teed off on him. I thought that was way worse. So, and then
Tommy Mellott.
No, Sean Chambers. It was Sean Chambers because Mellott was already out at this point. It wasn't a slide. It was when Chambers ran down to the goal line.
Oh, yeah.
And got kind of held up by a defender, and some guy just came up and popped him, and they reviewed it and said, no targeting. I mean, this was pretty minuscule in the grand scheme of things. I thought that, it was a poorly officiated game, but that you're going to get that. You're always going to get that. And, I mean, people like to say the FCS, the Big Sky is really bad, but I mean, it's the FCS. What referee is going to want to be in the FCS? You're going to want to move up and get that big money in the bigger conferences. You're going to be left with referees that aren't as good as guys in the Pac-12 and stuff. Like, it's just how it goes. So it is what it is, man. It's you just got to live with it, and hopefully it goes your way one game and goes against you the next game.
The pass they called a completion where it clearly hits the ground. Like,
I didn't see that. I saw people complaining about it, but I didn't see it.
It was funny listening to Ty Gregorak call this game because he was trying to bite his tongue on a lot of these. It was just really bad officiating. Like, there's no words for it. You're like, what? How's that whatever? Okay, I'm not going to spend my energy on that. Refs, that was bad.
Kendrick Bailey's angle on the Elijah Dotson touchdown was atrocious. Kendrick Bailey hasn't played real well all year. I thought he actually responded pretty well after that and played a pretty okay game after that, but that was a terrible angle. That was a 2015 Jamie Marshall coached safety angle. That was bad. We need Rylan Hort back in a big way, which is also my bad category. Why can't that guy get on the field? Who's screwing up? Who's dragging their feet? Who's making the mistakes out there that can't get Rylan Hort cleared after so many months of this? It's getting pretty frustrating, and it's a pretty bad look for somebody. I can't figure out who. It's a bad look for NCAA. It's a bad look for Montana State. I don't know, but it's frustrating, but it's pretty clear we need him because Reddy Short was not available for this game, which I never heard why. Did you? I didn't listen to the pregame show. Sometimes they get information on that. I was an hour and a half late getting back to my house, so I actually put my phone on silent and rewound ESPN Plus and started from the beginning. So I was like just fast forwarding through everything, trying to catch up to lives. So I missed a lot of normal stuff. I'd be cruising on Twitter, catching any news tidbits or anything like that. So if there's something out there and I missed it, but I'm very curious why Reddy Short didn't play, because I think, combination of Reddy Short and Kendrick Bailey is better than just Kendrick Bailey. I will say that. So we need somebody else out there. I'm hoping that Rylan Hort can play against Weber because we're going to need him.
Yeah, it's a big game coming up. He might have had a leg injury. That's something it's like floating in my brain right now. All right. The last thing I have for us for the bad is the injuries to Marcus Ware and Cole Sane. Marcus Ware, I think he has a fractured foot. Cole Sane has an injury in his knee. He came out with a limp and then some ice bags. And so I have a fingers crossed that we'll see Cole Sane again this year. I'm not sure if we're going to see Marcus again.
Yeah, I thought that was Cole Sane on the sideline in the boot, looking all real bad, but that was Marcus Ware apparently, who had the run the damn ball shirt on.
Might be flip-flopped. I thought that was Marcus, yeah.
I don't know. Either way, one guy got hurt pretty bad. So either way, losing two of our starting offensive linemen in one measly game that we could have won probably with a backup offensive line, it sucks. It sucks. And right before we go into Weber State, like, you want to come out of a game like this, number one, healthy. Like, maybe we win this game 21-17, fully healthy. Is that better than winning 37-14 and losing two offensive linemen? Probably not. Or probably, excuse me. I'd rather do the other way. I'd rather win close and keep everyone healthy. So that sucks. But the good news is we've been rotating guys
Northern Colorado.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. That's in the bad category. Pretty much whenever we talk about moving to the FBS, they're always like the punchline, like, I don't want to be playing against Northern Colorado in Greeley every year. And they're always like my go-to example of why I don't like being in the Big Sky necessarily. So yeah, that's in the bad category.
They're a protected rival of ours.
Yeah.
Well, it's just stupid. All right. Well, my predictions so far on the season are spot on. I had us losing at Oregon State and then winning everything else except that.
Oh.
Weber State is coming up next. We're going to have a big game, a big Monday to talk about that. I can't wait. Top 10 matchup.
It's going to be a huge game, and yeah, we'll talk a lot about that on Monday. So before let's get out of here, man, we're running up against a half an hour, way longer than we typically like to do these instant reaction shows. For Northern Colorado, of all things to go long on, for crying out loud. Spending extra time talking about the Badland Bears.
The Badland Bears.
All right. Well, thanks everyone to listening. I always say that. Thanks everyone to listening. It doesn't make any sense. Thanks everyone for
Thanks
listening.
for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I should just use less words. Why use more words when less were good? Trying to quote The Office there. All right. Well, whatever, man. Let's just get out of here. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.